How do we deal with garbage collection here on the homestead? That's what we're going to talk about today. Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. This is Kevin and Sarah. You know, one question that we get asked a lot by you guys, our subscribers, is how do we deal with trash on the homestead? How do we get rid of the trash that we make? How much trash do we make? And, you know, is there a good alternative when you live out in the country? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, just some of the options for dealing with, you know, the inevitable waste that you're going to have when you live on a homestead.
First, I want to just let you guys know, the extent of garbage collection and recycle options in our area. Now, every area is going to be different, every rural area, every city area, but what we work with here on our homestead in southern Missouri is there is private garbage collection that you would pay monthly. We only have access locally to recycling of different types of metals. So there's no paper, plastic, glass collection in the small town that we're nearby. Now there are options for that farther away. We could collect all of that and drive an hour in a couple different directions for recyclables.
Right.
But those are the options that we have out here where we live for trash and for recycling.
Right. Also, the closest landfill to us is about an hour away, maybe even a little more. And so that's not something that's convenient. It's not somewhere we can go often. So we need to find ways to deal with all of the waste that we have until we can make it either to a recycle center or to a landfill.
Right. So the primary goal for us is really to just reduce our garbage, reduce what we produce as far as garbage goes, and I think we do a fair job at that.
Right.
We do a lot of canning, and that reduces a lot of plastics and tin cans and glass jars and things that you would buy from the grocery store. It reduces that significantly. We've also replaced some things on the homestead with reusable items rather than single-time use and just throw away, such as napkins. We use fabric napkins. We don't use any disposable kinds of dishes or utensils.
Right.
We use just regular stuff that you need to wash.
Right. Even like Tupperware containers and things like that we don't use. We only use glass because even though those things aren't a single use, they do wear out, and then what do you do with all of that plastic once it's worn out? So we don't use any plastic food containers. Other than items that we sell at the farmers market, we really don't use like Ziploc bags and things like that. Right. So we really try to keep everything to a minimum.
Right. We also compost all of the foodstuffs that can go into the compost.
Right. Or give it to the chickens.
Yeah, give it to the chickens and the ducks and things like that.
Another thing that we try to do a lot around the homestead is repurpose items that we can. Milk jugs, vinegar jugs, things like that make great scoops for animal feed. Glass jars, Sarah a lot of times will use as a vase. For cut flowers, things like that. We purposely switched the brand of coffee that we drink because some of them came in cardboard containers or plastic containers, but we found one that still comes in a nice metal can, and I use those all the time in the garage for storing old screws and nails and things like that. So you really just need to be very conscientious of what you're buying, maybe even switching what you buy to come in a package that is more homestead friendly. Another thing that we do, that you can see behind me, is we burn. Now we don't burn any plastics, styrofoam, anything that's hazardous. We only burn our paper products. And so like, junk mail that we get, or if we do buy things at the grocery store that come in a paper or cardboard container, we'll burn that.
Right.
Cardboard boxes that we might get from Amazon.
Yeah, toilet paper rolls.
Right.
We're not doing reusable toilet paper.
No, we're not doing that.
No, we're not that brave.
No, we did grow a lot of corn last year, and we have a lot of extra corn cobs, but that's even a little far for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So we do burn quite a bit, and that does, save us a lot of space, and it's a lot of things that we don't have to figure out what to do with. So that helps a lot, and that is something I highly recommend if you're out in the country, especially if you don't have easy access to another alternative.
So what do we do with the garbage that we do collect? Well, we actually produce a very small amount of actual garbage, plastics and those kinds of things. Maybe 1 or 2, maximum 3 small, like Walmart bag size, plastic bag size of garbage per week.
Right. We don't buy garbage bags.
Right.
We just use the Walmart bags because that's another thing we need to get rid of.
Exactly. I really have a hard time buying things that I'm just going to use to throw away. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
So we collect those, and the 1 or 2 times a week that we go to town, we take those small bags with us, and we just throw them in a garbage can, either at the gas station or at the grocery store or something like that. And right now that seems to be working well for us.
Right. Now if we produced a larger volume, then we would probably need to find a different thing to do.
Yeah.
But the small town that we live near is actually pretty, I think they're aware of the fact that a lot of people live out in the country and don't have access to trash collection.
Or can't afford it.
Right. So they have, like in the town square, there's some pretty big garbage cans that you're allowed to throw garbage in. Walmart actually has like garbage cans everywhere out in their parking lot. So they try to make it pretty accessible, but that may be completely different where you are.
Right.
And some places like public parks and things like that may even have signs up saying that it's against the law or against city ordinance or whatever to dump household trash. So be respectful of those laws. If you have those things, don't abuse that. They're there for a reason. But that's mainly what we do.
Absolutely. So our main priority is to reduce the amount of garbage that we actually make, and I think that overall we're being relatively successful with that. But we do deal with garbage, and that's how we do it.
We are conscious, definitely more conscious now than we were when we lived in the city, of how much, because it takes work to get rid of it. And like Sarah said, buying things that you're just going to throw away anyway, like garbage bags or napkins and that type of thing, it's really a waste of money. And so we're very, very budget oriented here on the homestead. And so we really try to reduce spending money on things that are just going to get thrown in the trash. So you guys, I hope that this helped answer another question that we get asked frequently. What do we do with trash? I hope that you now understand what we do. Again, every situation is going to be different. Every town is going to be different. And maybe you feel that it's worth paying every month for trash collection where you're at. We just haven't thought that that's a priority when we have free alternatives to take care of the problem for us. So, hey, if this is your first time visiting our homestead and you liked the tips that you saw today, this would be a great time to hit the subscribe button below. If you're one of our traditionalists who comes back every day, thank you so much, you guys. We sure do appreciate your support. And until next time, thanks for stopping by the homestead. Take care, and God bless.
God bless.